Ladies and gentlemen, life is not a straight road. It's full of curves, bumps, and sometimes it throws you flat on the ground. Failure is the teacher of success. It's one of those great paradoxes of life. See, when you succeed, you celebrate, you enjoy, and you move on. But when you fail, something much more valuable happens, you learn. Failure points out the flaws in your plan. It shows you where you were careless. It exposes the areas that need more discipline, more knowledge, or more patience. Success whispers, but failure shouts. And sometimes we need that shout. Think about it. If everything you touched turned to gold the first time, you'd never grow. You'd never stretch your mind. You'd never build resilience. You'd never learn the real principles that make success sustainable. Failure is life's way of handing you the manual to improvement. It says, here's where you zigged when you should have zagged. Here's where your strategy was weak. Here's where your character needs more refinement. And the beauty of it is, failure doesn't disqualify you, it actually prepares you. Some of the greatest victories in history were born out of failure after failure. Thomas Edison once said he didn't fail thousands of times. He just discovered thousands of ways that didn't work. That's the mindset. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. Every time you stumble, take notes. Don't waste the experience. Ask, what is this fall teaching me? What lesson is hidden here? Because failure is not your enemy. It's your mentor. And if you're wise enough to study it, you'll find that failure is the very thing pushing you closer to the success you've been dreaming of. Falling tests your will to rise. Life has this way of checking your resolve. It asks you a very direct question. How badly do you want it? Because it's easy to stay excited when things are smooth, when the doors open easily, when the path is clear. But the true test doesn't show up in times of comfort. It shows up when you're knocked flat, when your plans collapse, when the world seems to say, not this time. That's when life leans in and whispers, are you done? Or do you still have the will to keep going? Falling is not just an accident, it's an examination. Every stumble is a test of your character. Will you stay down and accept defeat? Or will you push yourself back onto your feet and prove you still have fight left inside you? I'll tell you, the champions you admire, the success stories you hear about, they weren't spared from falling. No, they fell hard, some of them more times than you could count. The difference wasn't that they never fell. It was that they kept getting back up. They treated every setback like a challenge, every failure like a dare. Let's see if you can stop me. And time after time, they rose again. See, when you fall, you discover something you can't learn in books, something you can't buy in a seminar. You discover the depth of your own will. You find out how much heart you really have. And here's the beauty. Every time you rise after falling, you build an unshakable confidence inside that says, no matter how many times life knocks me down, I'll always get back up. The fall is just the setup for your rise. The ground is not your home. It's only the place you gather your strength before you climb higher than before. Pain builds strength that comfort never can. You see, comfort is sweet, but it doesn't challenge you. Comfort lets you stay the same. Pain, on the other hand, stretches you beyond what you thought you could endure. It forces you to grow. It chisels away the weakness and leaves behind resilience, courage, and strength. Think of the gym. When you lift a weight that's easy, nothing changes. But when the weight feels heavy, when your muscles burn, when it almost feels unbearable, that's when growth is happening. The same principle applies to life. The discomfort of rejection, the sting of failure, the loneliness of sacrifice, the grind of discipline, all of these are life's weights. And if you carry them long enough, they'll make you strong in ways comfort never could. The truth is, every person you admire, every champion, every leader, every success story, none of them got there by living in comfort. They walked through storms, endured setbacks, faced sleepless nights, and paid the price. But in the process, they developed qualities you can't get from an easy life: patience, grit, humility, determination. These aren't born in the sunshine, they're forged in the fire. Now, here's the key. Don't run from pain. Don't curse it. Instead, embrace it as a signal that you're growing. Say to yourself, "This is stretching me. This is shaping me. This is making me stronger." Because one day, the very pain that once broke you will become the story that inspires others. One day, you'll look back and realize the tough seasons were the best teachers of your life. Every fall redirects your path. Sometimes we think a fall is the end of the road, but more often than not, it's life's way of saying, "You weren't meant to stay here. There's a better road ahead." You see, not every door that closes is a tragedy. Some doors close because walking through them would have cost you more than you realize. Some plans fall apart because a greater plan is waiting to be discovered. Think about it. How many people in history reached their greatest calling not because everything worked out, but because something didn't? A lost job forced them into a new career. A failed business taught them the skills for their real breakthrough. A broken relationship opened the door to someone who would truly change their life. The fall, though painful, was not a punishment. It was a redirection. But here's the thing, you have to be willing to see it. If all you do after a fall is complain, you'll miss the message. If all you do is sit in regret, you'll never notice the new path opening in front of you. Life doesn't just knock you down to hurt you. It knocks you down to turn your head in a different direction. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is not getting what you thought you wanted. Because in missing it, you may find what you actually needed. Fall might look like failure today, but years from now, you'll look back and say, "That was the turning point. That's when my story really began." So don't despise the detours. Don't curse the setbacks. Every fall carries a hidden map, a quiet signal that says, "This way there's something greater waiting." The fall isn't the end of your path. It's the redirection toward your true destiny. We fall so we can inspire others with our rise. You see, your struggles are not just about you. Someone out there is watching, maybe your child, maybe a friend, maybe even a stranger you'll never meet. And they're drawing strength from the way you handle your challenges. Your comeback becomes their permission slip. Your rise becomes their roadmap. Think about it. If life were easy, if you never stumbled, if everything went smoothly, how could anyone else relate to you? People aren't moved by perfection. They're moved by perseverance. They're moved when they see someone take the same hits they've taken, face the same disappointments, feel the same pain, and still rise again. That's what gives hope. That's what lights the fire in someone else's heart and says, "If they can get up, I can too." Every scar you carry is a story. Every tear you've shed is a testimony. And when you rise after falling, those stories and testimonies become fuel for others. A young man struggling to keep going might see your persistence and say, "That's the strength I need." A young woman facing her own failure might look at your courage and whisper, "That means I'm not finished yet." And here's the remarkable thing, sometimes you'll never know who you've inspired. A coworker, a neighbor, someone in your community, they might never tell you. But your resilience plants seeds in their life. The world is in desperate need of examples, not just words. And every time you rise, you become that example. So the fall was never wasted. It wasn't just about testing you or redirecting you. It was also about positioning you to inspire. Your rise can become a beacon, a living message to the world. You can fall, but you don't have to stay down. You can rise, and when you do, you'll light the path for others to follow. That's why we fall, not only to grow ourselves, but to prove to someone else that rising is possible. So, my friends, why do we fall? We fall to learn, to strengthen, to redirect, to test our will, and to inspire. The fall is never the end. It's the beginning of your rise. Because the truth is, life doesn't measure you by how many times you fall. Life measures you by how many times you stand back up.